The feast day of the holy face of Jesus, okay? Again, it's always on the Tuesday before Ash Wednesday, but then they also celebrate it every Tuesday throughout the year. Got it? Earlier you heard me say 840 times in Scripture it talks about the face of God. If it says it that many times, do you think it might be important? I would think so. And again, so in Exodus it says this. Thus the Lord used to speak to Moses face to face, as a man speaks to his friend. So God used to speak to Moses face to face. And again, he's a guy who fled for his life from Egypt, right? Because he had killed we're not going to get into the whole story. But again, so he's fleeing for his life, and then he gets connected, he gets married, and he meets God up on the mountain in this divine encounter. It was a burning bush that never burnt. Then in Exodus 33:14 it says, my presence will go with you, and I will give you rest. You want to be connected to him face to face. You want to know when his presence is there, because you're going to know when it's not. Because you're going to be connected usually to the chaos of life and of the world. Then Moses asks, show me your glory, Lord. I want to see you. And then it says in Exodus, you cannot see my face, for man shall not, any man who sees me will not live. Interesting. It's his best friend, and now he says you can't see him, but then he does the thing in the cleft of the rock where you can see my back, but you can't see my face in between two rocks as God passes by. There's a time, and a lot of it has to do with what's going on in here and us. We're a lot like Moses. We've got issues that need to be cleaned up in here, in our heart. And it would be overwhelming to see him face to face. But he wants to see you face to face. He wants a divine encounter with you. That's why he sent his son. In Deuteronomy it says, and this is interesting because remember he can only see him through the cleft of the rock his back. But then as Scripture proceeds on, and then he says, whom the Lord knew, talking about Moses, whom the Lord knew face to face. Earlier he couldn't know him face to face, but something must have happened in Moses' heart. Because remember, he came down off the mountain, and people couldn't even look at him. He had this glow about him. What is that? I want that glow for you guys. I want it for all of us. I want that glow. So when you walk around, you're leaking it. I mean, I always talk about Monsignor Ken Leone. My God, when that man enters a room, you could feel it because he leaks Jesus wherever he goes. And again, so, Monsignor's in his 80s now, but when he was younger, oh my gosh, when I first met him, I saw him, and I wasn't much of a church-going person at the time. And I saw him, and I thought, I want what that guy has. I want what he has. I don't understand it, but I want what he has. And what it was is he had a relationship, and he knew God face to face. And we all can do that. But sometimes we got things in the way that need to be cleaned up. Sometimes we say things like this. I would rather speak to you face to face. How many times have we said that? I want to speak to you face to face, not on the phone. How many times have we text or something like that because it's safer? I'm more of a face-to-face guy. And again, and I know those are not easy encounters because you don't know what's going to happen and what people are going to do. Oh, see? So we want that face-to-face encounter because that's how we're going to see God. Or sometimes in anger, we'll say things like, why don't you tell me to my face instead of telling other people? You know, you telling other people, and once you say it to my face. So, there's another thing we talk about faces. How many times have somebody ever said, you're two-faced? Ooh. Oh, come on. You've heard that one before. How about we face the day? Looking forward to facing the things that, you're supposed to do. Oh, what about, there's another good one. And we see it in movies and all that kind of stuff, the modern day movies, and facial recognition, the cameras, and they're picking you up stuff. And I mean, we don't even know what all this stuff the government can do right now. And again, all the facial recognition, all the different things. I mean, they've got security things that, you get your face up there and measures your eyeball or something, and then it opens the door. I mean, there's all kinds of things. Your fingerprint. I mean, you're on your iPad or iPhone or whatever. So I think some of those are facial recognition on an iPhone too. So there's all kinds of face things, but lots of times we're afraid of that face-to-face encounter with God because of our past, because of the things we're walking around with, and we're carrying them around. My bitterness, my resentment, my unforgiveness, my rejection, my abandonment, my loneliness. I'm carrying that around. But until you can learn how to leave that stuff here, bang, in the present moment, leave your past there. Quit looking back and look forward. It's a present moment connection. That's what the mystics say. That's when you're going to find God. But if you keep carrying your past with you, all the unforgiveness, the bitterness, all that other stuff, when you keep carrying that with you, you're not going to find God because you're going to be connected in all these brain loops that will tell you lies, tell you all kinds of things. Oh, go do this and you'll be happy. Oh, go do porn. Or go smoke a joint. Or go do this. Go do that. And those kind of voices you got to bring down because God's calling you to have a face-to-face encounter. But those other voices are calling you where? Into chaos. And so we all have this stuff, but you got to learn how to fight it and how to step into it. In Numbers 12:8 it says, with Moses I speak to mouth, clearly, not in dark speech, and he beholds the form of God. So you get connected to God, and it stirs up that desire because you are part of God already. The mystics know this. You're not God, but you're part of him. Make sense? It's hard to make sense of that. And, well, wait a second. You got God and then you got me, and I'm separate. I got to pray to this God out here. He's already here. You're already part of it. And when the mystics discovered that in their prayer, their whole world opened up, a possibility. Parkinson's can be healed, Ralph. Where's Ralph? Oh, there he is. Okay. Parkinson's can be healed. Elbows can be healed. Right? Right? The healer could take care of that. The healer could take care of hip sockets, bones. Right? Right? Yeah, he could take care of all that stuff. So whatever we're dealing with, that God already wants to. But you know what we tend to do? We tend to wrestle with God. Just like Jacob. Jacob stole the birthright of his brother Esau. And then he flees for his life because Esau is a man's man. Jacob is, the guy who cooks soup in the kitchen. And again, and the man's man, he's my brother's like bigger and stronger than me, and I stole his birthright. I better get out of Dodge. And so he's gone for about 20 years or so, and then and he comes back, with all of his riches and his wives and his all the slaves and everybody else who he has with him, and then he sends out gifts to his brother out ahead. Doesn't listen to God what to do. He's trying to settle things on his own terms. The night before he meets with Esau, he wrestles with God. How many times we wrestle with God? We all do. And again, we wrestle with him, but then in the morning, this is what Jacob said. For I have seen God face to face. And that's when he says, I'm going to call this place Peniel, and which means face to face with God. So, okay, we'll go right to that. Okay. Hey, Larry, slide 1. So, Veronica's veil. Let's go into the face of God. There's a history. This particular veil, if you were to see it, it's pretty dark in the image. They bring the image up so you can actually see it. But if you were to look at it from a distance, it looks like something dark on the cloth. But when you get up close, you can see it. And so you can see a tear here. You can see he get beaten here. Okay. Sorry about that. Didn't mean it. So, Veronica cuts through the crowd, and he's carrying the cross to crucifixion. And along the way, she comes up and takes that cloth and puts it right on his face. It was her shawl, it covered her hair, and she puts it right on his face. Obviously, if you're going to put a cloth on someone's face to wipe the sweat and the blood off, you're going to close your eyes, right? I tell you that because there's another face I'm about to show you. There's more than one face that they say is Veronica's cloth. I'm going to tell you, this is probably the most scientists and most theologians will tell you that this is probably the authentic one. Because they could trace this one all the way back to that time. Now, Veronica, after she did this, she had the cloth, and then people would come and touch the cloth and be healed of all kinds of stuff. Somehow, this got back to the emperor and in Rome. And the emperor sent word to Pontius Pilate and said, I want to find this Veronica. He had leprosy. And so somehow Pontius Pilate gets a hold of Veronica, and she says, yeah, I'll go. She brings the cloth, and the emperor touches it, and the leprosy leaves. True story. So, and this was the cloth. So saints and different people through the ages would meditate on it, on the tears coming down, on the suffering face, on the blows, on his pain. Because it's through his pain and suffering that we now have access to heaven. And we can pray from heaven as though you are already healed, right? Because we can leave it there. He already did the work. He already did the work. We don't have to hold on to it. So this is the one that most people will say was Veronica's cloth. Now go to the next one, Larry. This is another one that claims to be Veronica. No, this is the Shroud of Turin. I wanted the other one first. Larry, what's the next one? That one. Okay. So this is another one that they claim to be Veronica's cloth. But a lot of the scientists and the experts say, yeah, it's authentic, but why would he be having this little smirk on his face? And why would the eyes be open if you're going to wipe his face? But this is what they think this cloth is, not Veronica's. So what they would do when they buried the body of Jesus, they put like a handkerchief over his face, and they put another thing over the upper part of his body here. Then they put the shroud over him. So there's like 3 cloths. This, they think, was the cloth that was like over his face. And it's like in color like that. And they've analyzed it, and it's not paint. No paint or nothing. They can't explain it. So if this is the resurrected Lord, his eyes would be open. So when they buried somebody, they put actually coins, and you could see it on the Shroud of Turin where the coins were, and they'd close their eyes. I don't remember what the significance was, but there was a significance of all that stuff. So the other picture, the first one, the second one, now put on the other one, the Shroud of Turin. Okay. The Shroud of Turin. Now, in any of these, you don't have to believe that they are legit or not. The church doesn't make you believe that. But this is the Shroud of Turin, so it has this whole body. And again, so when you take the image of all 3 of these and you put it together, the bone structure and everything match up perfectly for all 3 of those pictures. So we know it's the same person. Now you can say, well, I don't know if it's Jesus or not. I can't tell you this for sure. But I could tell you, if you want people to know you, I'm going to leave my face behind. Because I want them to know me intimately so that they can come into my sacred heart. But you got to know them face to face. So what they did is they asked AI. You know AI? You familiar with AI? Well, I mean, everybody, AI, we got to be doing AI now. Yeah. So what they do is they took those 3 pictures and they asked AI, putting those three pictures together, what would Jesus look like? Play the last one, Larry. And that's what he would look like. So I'm going to leave that up now, because in a second we'll do a meditation. There's a good chance that's what Jesus looked like. I can't guarantee that, but there's a good chance that's what he probably looked like from the technology we have. He wants a face-to-face encounter with you. Because when you know him face-to-face, it's going to pull you into his sacred heart. When I saw him in the hospital room and he appeared to me, I couldn't take my eyes off of his eyes. I couldn't take it. I mean, there's so much light that was coming out of him. And I did see his wounds, and I knew it was him. But yet I asked him, I said, are you the Jesus who's both human and divine? And he said, yes. But I couldn't take my eyes off of his eyes because they pulled my heart right into his sacred heart. And the healing that I needed was given to me that night. I needed to know him face to face. You know, if with Dee, if I just talked to her on the phone from a distance, it wouldn't be much of we could have a relationship like that. But it was that face-to-face contact. You know, 50 years later, after being married 50 years, I mean, I could tell you the moments, there's sacred moments when, like her dad died, or there's certain times in our family, maybe after the birth of a baby. Oh, did you ever sit there and hold the baby? Oh, you remember when you held Raphael? Remember, Anthony? You held him, and even though he was little right after the birth, and they probably couldn't hold him too long because they had to put him in intensive care. And again, but when I held my little ones, or my first grandkids, and all the grandkids. And you make that eye-to-eye contact. When your mom held you, she would look into your eyes. There's a major download that happens with mom and dads and their kids. So if I'm going like, oh God, I'm telling you, that download goes into that little one. But when you say, Papa, say Papa, oh yeah, and again, you're saying all those things like that, I'm telling you, they know neurologically there's an actual download that happens into that baby the first 18 months. Every time you hold it, every time you do the silly things and whatever it might be. I've only gotten one grandkid to say the word Papa before Nana, okay? Out of 26, that's not bad. And again, so at least I got one. And all the other ones, Jeremiah, you were a Nana. So anyway, which is okay. I joke about it. So that it's that face, the face-to-face encounter. When you guys met, and then you gaze into each other's eyes, and then he leaned into you, and he's saying, I wonder if she's going to lean back for that first kiss. And again, so that's what God's always waiting for. He's always leaning towards you. He's looking at you, and he's leaning in. Are you just going to sit there, or are you going to lean back and embrace him? And for that spiritual intimacy, that's what he wants. That's what this feast day is all about. It brings us into a sacred heart. So I want to leave that up there for the rest of the time here. And again, you could find those pictures on the internet. You know, it's nothing. They could be downloaded or whatever else. So what I want you to do now is get your feet flat on the floor. Take a deep breath. So you got that image in your head now. There's a good chance that that's how Jesus looked. Just breathe in again. Lord, I want to know you face to face. I want this divine encounter with you. I need, Holy Spirit, awaken that desire within me for this face-to-face encounter with you, to know you intimately, spiritually, physically, emotionally. Not just in your own mind with your eyes closed, just see that face. Rest your head on his shoulder. Let him wrap his arms around you as he just gazes into your eyes. Just breathe in again. He already knows what's going on in your heart. I want you just to sit now and listen to his voice speak to you. Just take a breath in again. Feel that peace in the room right now? When you connect to him face to face, you're going to feel this unbelievable peace. Because he is peace. Remember when he comes through the wall right after his death and his resurrected body comes through the wall, the first thing he always says is, peace be with you. But you got to learn how to receive that peace. That means you got to stop the clenched fists. Stop holding on to the anger, the loneliness, the resentment, the unforgiveness. Stop holding on to all that stuff in life, the anxiety, the worry. He says, give it all to me. Leave it at the cross. Come on, you can do that. You can love yourself enough to do that right now. Let this Lent be an unbelievable Lent, stepping into what God is calling you to. Take another deep breath in, knowing that you can come back to this space, this time, anytime you want. All you have to do is take a deep breath and just go to your imagination. And you can spend time with God. It's as real as just sitting there and talking to me or anybody else. That's how God does it. He wants that face-to-face encounter. But just rest in that peace right now.